What's up everybody, and welcome back to another video of Barbecue with Barry. And today we are going to be cooking for 35 people. Let's get started. All right, so we got in front of me here 26 pounds of chicken wings and roughly 26 pounds of bone-in pork butts. We got an event going on at my work, and so we're gonna have people coming from out of town, some employees there, and we're just gonna do a big barbecue for roughly 35, 37 people. And they asked me to cook up some barbecue. So today is the day before, the event is gonna be tomorrow. So what we're gonna be doing today is prepping and smoking the pork butts to turn them into pulled pork, and then just prepping the chicken wings, which I will cook tomorrow. Today is, like I said, the day before, so it's a little too soon to cook the chicken wings. I don't want them to get soggy or anything like that. So we're gonna be just prepping the chicken wings, and then we're gonna be smoking the pork butts and then letting them rest in the oven overnight. I just did this not too long ago, and it was some of the best pulled pork I had. Normally, I don't really rest pulled pork for more than a couple hours, but last time I did this, I had no other choice but to rest it in the oven overnight, so I tried to get it to finish kind of as late into the night as possible. I think the last time I did this, put them on at around 11:30 and they finished up around 9:30, and then we rested them until 11 o'clock the next day, and they turned out absolutely phenomenal. So let's go ahead, get started. We're gonna start with seasoning these pork butts up, get them on the smoker. We're gonna be smoking these at 225 degrees. Then we're gonna bump it up to 250, then 275. Then we'll eventually wrap them up. And I got a little something special for these pork butts. So let's get going. All right, so we got our bone-in pork butts out of the packaging. They're kind of close to the same size. This one's a little bit bigger. This one's like 10.5 pounds. This is 9, and this is like 8.8, almost 9 pounds. So they're pretty close to the same size. This one will probably take a little bit longer to cook, but we're gonna start by scoring the fat cap on top to help that fat render down. Then we'll go ahead and get these seasoned up. Now for scoring the fat cap, really just kind of want like a cross hatch pattern, diamond shaped pattern on top. All right, now that we got our fat cap scored, it's time for the secret ingredient. We are going to be injecting these with Dr Pepper. I haven't done a video on this before, but this will be kind of a little video inside of a video. Dr Pepper injected pulled pork. It's great. The Dr Pepper has kind of that little bit of cherry flavor to it. Goes really well with smoked meats. So we're gonna be injecting these and then seasoning them up with Heath Riles competition rub. All right, so we got our Dr Pepper here, our injector. Go ahead and start injecting these. All right, now that we got these injected with our Dr Pepper, let's go ahead and get them seasoned up with Heath Riles competition rub. Now you can use a binder if you want to. I didn't in this case, just because the Dr Pepper kind of makes the pork moist enough, so you don't really need one, but you can always use one if you would like. Now this is a big piece of meat, so it can take a lot of seasoning. All right, we'll go ahead. All right, we'll go ahead and let that seasoning sweat in and get the smoker fired up. All right, our pork butts are nice and sweat in, seasoning has adhered. We're gonna go ahead and get them on the smoker. Smoker's been fired up to 225 degrees, cleaned out, ready to go. Let's get these on. All right, so we got our pork butts on the smoker at 225 degrees. Let's go ahead and prep our chicken wings. I don't know how many wings this is. I'm gonna try and get a count just so I know, but it's roughly 24, 25 pounds of chicken wings. By prepping them, we're gonna go ahead and separate the flat from the drum, get these in bags so that they're ready to cook tomorrow morning. So let's get started. All right, so we got all of our drums and flats separated, chicken wings prepped. I did go ahead and count them, and it is 150 chicken wings exactly. So we're gonna have 150 chicken wings and roughly 25 pounds of pulled pork. We'll see, it's probably gonna cook down to around 18 to 20 pounds once it's fully cooked. But either way, we got a lot of food, and I'm gonna go ahead, get these in the fridge so that we can cook these tomorrow. All right, our pork butts have been on the smoker at 225 degrees for right around 5 hours. Let's go ahead and take a look, see where they're at temp-wise. Perfect, looking good. A couple more hours on here, then we'll pull them off and put them in a pan to finish the cook. All right, it is now 7:30 p.m. Our pork butts have been on for right around 8 hours. At 225 degrees, I did bump it up to 250 around 5:30, so just over 2 hours ago. Let's go ahead and check these and see how we're looking. $170, $168, $165. So these are really perfectly cooking from largest to smallest, right around the same temperature, which is awesome. These are close to 170. This one's at 170, this 167, 164, as you just saw. I'm gonna go ahead, pull these off, get them in a sheet pan, and throw them back on for the remainder of the cook. All right, our pork butts were on the smoker for right around 8 hours, 6 hours at 225 degrees, and then the last 2 hours at 250 degrees. They've reached an internal temperature of 165 to 170. So we're gonna go ahead, throw them in the pans, get them wrapped up to finish the remainder of the cook. Now for wrapping them, we're gonna put in there some brown sugar, some honey, butter, and the secret ingredient, Dr Pepper. So we'll start with just pouring a little bit of Dr Pepper into the bottom of this pan here. It's gonna act as kind of like a braising liquid for our pork. And like you saw before, we did inject these with the Dr Pepper, so just carrying that trend throughout the cook. Now we'll go ahead, add a little bit of honey, some brown sugar, then we'll add our butter and get these things covered up and back on the smoker. All right, let's go ahead and get these covered up and back on the smoker. And the last thing we will do here is go ahead and throw a probe in these. There we go. Close this back down. All right, we are now right around 10 and a half hours into the cook. Our pork butts are right around 200, 205 degrees. So what we're gonna go ahead and do, they are done. We're gonna go ahead, turn off the smoker, let these things rest in here for just a little bit, let them come down at internal temperature, and then what we're gonna do is throw them in the oven at 170 degrees where we're gonna hold them overnight until the morning. All right, it is the next morning. Our meat has been in the oven overnight. You can see it's held well. 169, 174. So we're gonna go ahead, take this out, put it in a cooler, and take it to work. All right, we got our 3 pork butts in the cooler, ready to go. All right, so we have made it into the office, starting to get things ready. I'm gonna go ahead and prep the chicken wings to go on the grill. It is now right around, I don't have a watch on, but right around 9:15. Lunch is at 12:15. We got 150 chicken wings to cook, so let's get started. All right, let's go ahead and get these seasoned up with some Meat Church Blanco. Brand new bottle, so I'm gonna have to open the top here. All right, let's go ahead, get our grill fired up here. All right, let's go ahead, get our first batch of chicken wings on. All right, so we just finished loading our first batch of chicken wings on here. We got 3 more. This is probably, I don't know, 35, 40 wings-ish. So we'll go ahead and prep the other ones. All right, we're gonna go ahead and add some more chicken wings into here just because we got a lot to cook and roughly 2 hours until we're eating. And I'm gonna use this top rack in case some of them get to be a little too hot. All right, wings are going good. We're gonna do 3 different types of wings here. We're gonna do plain, barbecue, and some buffalo. So we're gonna start with doing the plain ones first, get those out of the way. We got a couple that are done over here, but the rest are still cooking. Kind of just constantly flipping with this grill here, making sure that they're done with the Thermopin, and then putting them in the aluminum pan. All right, so we got 1.5 batches done here. Let's go ahead and get our 3rd batch of chicken wings on. Don't mind these up here, they're cooked extra well done for someone special. That's how they like them. Not me, but to each their own. All right, this group right here is the rest of the plain ones. These are gonna be the barbecue sauce ones. Go ahead and get the rest of this tray on here if we can fit them all. Not gonna be able to get them all, but we'll get close. All right, we got 3 of our 4 batches of wings on or done. The second batch is finishing up over here. This will be our 3rd batch, which is gonna be the barbecue wings, and then the last batch will be the buffalo style. All right, we got our last batch about to go on right now. We're still a little early on time. They cooked a little bit quicker on here than I thought they would. So what we're gonna do is just sauce them when there's like 15, 20 minutes left before we start eating. That's when we'll sauce them. So they're fully cooked though when I'm taking them off, so we won't have to worry about cooking them any further. It's more about just adding that sauce once they're done.
All right, and our last batch is on. All right, our beans came cold from where we got them catered from Publix. So I had to throw them on the grill just to warm them up, but they are done. And now it is time to sauce the wings. All right, our first sauce we're gonna be doing is our Kinder's barbecue sauce wings. Original, kind of got a honey barbecue flavor to it. We're gonna toss our wings in the bowl, throw them on, let that barbecue sauce adhere. Barbecue wings are looking good. Gonna pull these off here in a second.
All right, guys, so it is the next day now. The cook went awesome. Everyone loved the pulled pork. Everyone loved the chicken wings. I would have preferred to smoke them on the pellet smoker, but got to work with what you got, and all we had was that propane grill. They still turned out great, but definitely not my preferred method. I hope you enjoyed this video. Cooking for that many people was definitely a challenge to time things out and that sort of thing. So ChatGPT was my friend as far as trying to plan out the cook, when to start things, when to finish things, pros and cons of, I thought about cooking the wings here and then finish them on the propane grill once I got to my job, but I ended up just cooking them all there as you saw in the video. Again, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for the comments, the likes on all the videos in the past, and I'll see you guys in the next one.